WWE stars very excited about Cody Rhodes' return to the company. Spoilers on Cody and Stone Cold Steve Austin's WrestleMania 38 roles. Has WWE released Shelton Benjamin? Possibly, who knows with this company. And your questions answered. Hello, welcome to the Solo Sunday News with myself, Andrew Pollard here at What Culture Wrestling. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. But first and foremost, more importantly, just make sure you're doing okay on this Sunday. I hope whatever you've got planned for your Sunday goes super cool. I hope whatever you've done already with your Sunday has gone super cool. Whether you're doing something, whether you're doing nothing, just have the best possible day. And in terms of best possible days, WWE are clearly hopeful that it's going to be a big one when Cody Rhodes returns to the fold at WrestleMania 38. Now, Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful has reported that the top stars he's spoken to or reached out to backstage in WWE are very excited about the impending return of the American Nightmare, or the Dashing One, the Stardust, whatever you want to call him, Cody Rhodes, who is, this is a story that's been developing for, I guess I was going to say weeks, months since we first heard that Cody was working without a contract back in December when he was in AEW. There's been talks that maybe he's going to return to WWE, which sounded nuts at the time because I don't know. Obviously, EVP of the company at AEW, one of the top stars, one of the most featured stars when he was on TV, when he wasn't away doing reality TV shows and stuff. So yeah, Cody Rhodes is due to return to WWE, and there's more developments as we go. It seems like every day as we're edging closer to WrestleMania, there's a new nugget to this story, a new nuance to this story, and the latest developments, like I said, per Sean Ross Sapp, that it is that WWE talent are very excited about Cody's return, but also Mike Johnson over at PW Insider has reported that Cody signed a deal about 10 to 14 days ago, so about a fortnight ago, to confirm his return. And there's also stories as well that WWE will be planning on flying him in by private jet for WrestleMania, rather than, I guess ruin the surprise, but is it a surprise? It's kind of like one of those, it's almost like the CM, I'm not going to compare it to CM Punk in Chicago signing for AEW, but it kind of is a little bit where it's that secret that it's like the best kept secret. I'm not talking about Buddy Matthews, what a talent that guy is, but it is like the best kept secret, or the worst kept secret, I should say, in professional wrestling, that Cody Rhodes is on his way to WWE. Just like how CM Punk was on his way to AEW. So yeah, WWE are looking at possibly getting him a private jet to Dallas, Texas for Mania, so that people can't see him at the airport or spot him at the airport. Leaked images will get out, of course, if people do see Cody at the airport. And the plan moving forward is for him to be on the Raw brand. At the moment, the talk is that he's not going to appear until WrestleMania 38 itself, which kind of dovetails nicely into our next story, which is when exactly Cody will be on Mania. And the plan now, apparently, this is from Reddit user Kermit125, who I can take, I don't know, I take Reddit with a pinch of salt, but this dude has some previous breaking stories, such as calling early the Queen Sharmell induction into the WWE Hall of Fame, which that was announced this week, I think it was. I've lost track of my days. But yeah, Kermit over on Reddit has put that basically it's going to be Cody versus Seth. It's going to be on night 2 of WrestleMania. Of course, WrestleMania 38 is a 2-day event. Me personally, I know not everybody likes it, but I really dig the 2-day format because, I mean, over in the UK, there's been so many times over the years where Mania starts at say 1 a.m. and it's that like 6-7 hour slog if you're taking into account the pre-shows, and it's like you're staying awake and you're doing your best to, but sleep comes calling. So splitting it over 2 days, I'm cool with that. But yeah, in addition to Cody versus Seth being on night 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens. Oh, I shouldn't say versus. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kevin Owens are in the main event spot of night 1. That is if this story is to be believed. Now, of course, Austin, we know that Austin is scheduled to be on the KO show at WrestleMania, and it looks like if this is to be if this is legit, which I'd like to think it is if we're reporting on it. If not, I have to question myself on what I'm doing on this Sunday morning. I'm going for it. But yeah, then it's going to be Austin and KO truly main event in WrestleMania. Now, of course, in this day and age, main event in WrestleMania means that you could be in the middle of the card, you could be opening the show. It's just not a marketing tool, it's just a spiel that WWE throws out there. Yeah, so-and-so main event in WrestleMania, even though they're a match 4 of a 10-match card. Like, main event is the main event to me, the final match, the final part of the show that you see as that show goes off the air, and that is where KO and Stone Cold are penciled in for. Whether we get a match, that still remains to be seen, of course. Now, Jim Ross, Stone Cold's longtime good buddy, close personal friend, speaking on Grilling JR, which is an exceptional podcast that you should give a listen to, as well as our own podcasts, which are also exceptional listens that you should give a listen to. Jim Ross has said that from speaking to Austin's been training hard, obviously, of course, but that he expects it to be more than just a talk show segment, that he expects it to be more than just your usual physicality of one or two stunners. So we're going to get something, and I'm intrigued as all hell to see what that is. But this story also adds that the match currently penciled in to open WrestleMania Night 1 is Bianca Belair challenging for the Raw Women's title, held, of course, by Becky Lynch. There's no word yet on Night 2 of Mania. I mean, it looks, but I'm not sure if it's actually been officially confirmed. It may have done and just slipped well under my radar, but it seems by all intents and purposes we're going to get Brock versus Roman Reigns closing out Night 2 of Mania. I guess the only other match that could possibly do that would be Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey, but I think that's only a small chance. It's Brock and Roman all the way, and I'm cool with that because that feels like the biggest match right now going into WrestleMania. Clearly, now one person whose role going into WrestleMania 38 remains to be seen is Shelton Benjamin. But fear not, for those wondering if the gold standard has been released, he's clarified that he's not. Now, the rumor and innuendo, I guess, that the rumor mills over the last few days, I don't know where this came from. There were stories that Shelton Benjamin had been released. And when you hear that a talent has been released by WWE lately, it doesn't sound completely insane because just the turnover of personnel they've had over the past 2 years of over 100 releases. It's nuts, man. And so if you hear that Shelton Benjamin's been released, that's a shame. That's unfortunate. And you probably believe it to be true. Now, these rumors started a couple of days ago. Shelton has taken to Twitter to say that no, he is still with WWE. The reports of his release are untrue. And then he blamed Mia Yim for starting these rumors. So maybe it was Mia Yim. Of course, that's all tongue in cheek. Mia Yim and Shelton Benjamin are good buddies away from the ring. But Shelton is still with the company. Now, it's such a weird spot that he's in at the moment because I think I speak for a lot of people that the Hurt Business as a quartet were badass. They were so good together. MVP, Bobby Lashley, Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin. And then they broke up. And then Bobby beat the piss out of Cedric and Shelton. And then Cedric and Shelton kind of carried on teaming. Then the Hurt Business was a thing again. And then they weren't. And then they were. And then they were. And it's like, just put them all together. Obviously, Bobby Lashley's out on the shelf at the moment, but yeah, keep him as a four. I know obviously Cedric and Benjamin are still referred to as the Hurt Business, but that just seems to be as a tag tandem for now. But yeah, Shelton Benjamin, what a talent. What a career the guy's had. Arguably should have made that jump to the next level. Talent-wise, clearly could have made that jump to the next level to becoming a true main event star. It was at times struggled with the personality side of the business, which we all know that is key to success, unfortunately. But yeah, Shelton is still with WWE, and that's cool. Now I'm going to run through these questions quite quick because loads of questions are coming today, and I'm going to throw it out there. Thank you for all the dog pictures. I'm always cool to see pictures of pooches on a Sunday morning, and there seems to be a fair few of those. Now, if that's going to become like a regular thing, I'm very happy with that. Now, first we've got Coulter Strand, who's got in touch to say, I've been playing WWE 2K22, and there are tons of released wrestlers in the game. Do you think WWE will use former wrestlers and pay them royalties to pad out future games and ensure there's a deep roster to play with? I've also been playing 2K22 and I'm really enjoying it. It's fun. That's all I want from a wrestling game. It's fun. It reminds me of the sort of games I would play with my pals when I was in university back in the day, where you'd have a few beers, you'd sit around and you'd be entertained just beating the crap out of each other on a game. It wasn't, I think they veered off and tried to make things a bit too wrestling simulatory, if that is even a phrase. And this just feels more arcadey, more actiony, more meatier in its action. And I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, as in terms of whether they'll pay former wrestlers to pad out the game, I don't think so. No, I think in terms of they'll have still the Legends content. Obviously, they'll still be paying the wrestlers under the Legends contracts to appear in these games. But in terms of reaching out to release talent, say if they was making a new game, I don't know, in a year's time, and they reach out to Cesaro as an example, I don't think that sort of thing is going to happen where they reach out to the guys who are still active in the business and in the competition. But also you've got NXT. That's going to be, for better or for worse, whatever you think of NXT 2.0, that is going to be churning out talent for the main roster on a very, very frequent basis. I mean, already you're looking at Bron Breakker seems destined for the main roster sooner rather than later. There was reports that Haaland was working dark matches already. I think that was last week. And then you look at someone like LA Knight, who seems, get that guy on the main roster. The dude is a star. He's always been a star, whether it was Eli Drake in Impact, whether it was in the NWA. The guy is just... How you're WWE, this entertainment company, and you don't have that guy on Raw or SmackDown is just... But it does seem like he is, sooner rather than later, will be getting the call up to the main roster. Ciampa seems destined for the main roster. So my point being that NXT 2.0 is going to be constantly... The talent is going to be moving to that main roster, and then new faces are going to come into NXT, new talent's going to come into NXT. So for WWE, in terms of content and characters for their wrestling games, there's just this conveyor belt that they're going to have plenty of. NXT UK as well. And also, of course, there's going to be the multiple variations of Cody Rhodes on these future games. There will be the Hardcore Holly debuted Cody Rhodes. There will be him and Ted Jr. together. There'll be Legacy Cody Rhodes. There'll be Dash-In. There'll be Cody with the bag on his head. There'll be Cody with the mask on his face. There'll be Stardust. And then there'll be the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. So all the variations of Cody will pad out this roster on the next game. I absolutely 100% think so. Next question, Alexis Diana. Hey, good morning, legend. Thank you, Alexis. No legends here, but I appreciate the sentiment. Lil Dexter Dexter looks like an absolute babe. Lil Dexter and I would like to know, can you imagine NXT UK 2.0? And would you watch it? I can see Sid Scala as Austin Powers and Johnny Sate as Basil Exposition. Hashtag shut up and take my money. Alexis, don't put that out there. You know that if this gets picked up on by WWE, it's like, oh my god, that's a really good idea, and I'm not ready for it. I'm still no. I'm envisioning just the day glow in the BT Sports Studio, whatever they call it, the venue of like, just like paint splatters everywhere, and there are. I think like someone like Trent Seven could have loads of fun in that sort of environment. And obviously Tyler, big strong boy. That's one of those where like, I don't watch NXT UK as much as I would like. That's the one show that is kind of not off my radar, but I don't know, it's just like out of my weekly viewing habits. If I hear about something particular on it, I'll go and watch it. Like Ilya Dragunov absolutely killing it with A-Kid a couple of weeks ago. It was brilliant. But yeah, no, leave NXT UK. I think it's like, I'm surprised that I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, and I don't want anybody to lose their jobs, but I'm genuinely surprised that NXT UK is still a thing. When you look at all the cuts WWE's made to NXT talents, to the main roster talents, it's almost like Vince doesn't even know NXT UK exists, and everybody who tries it stays quiet because they know if he realizes it exists, then that's getting the cut. But no, I'll keep my NXT UK as is, thanks. Mark Solid, morning Andrew, morning Mark. Thoughts on Tully joining up with the Briscoes? And that's a very cool pick of the pooch in the snow. I believe, is that Apollo? If so, morning to Apollo. Thoughts on Tully joining up with the Briscoes? I mean, it could work. I mean, if you wanted to go there, Jim Cornette with the Briscoes would be a perfect marriage. Obviously, going back to Ring of Honor, and Cornette's a massive fan of the Briscoes, and Cornette is not so much a massive fan of AEW as a whole, and is kind of like the biggest heel in the business to the AEW audience. I mean, if you wanted to do that, the only problem is I don't think the Briscoes are going to be coming into AEW. Talent-wise, God, man, they're brilliant. I was watching them last night. They were at the Crockett Cup for the NWA. The Dem Boys are brilliant as a tag team. As to be fair, as singles, Jay Briscoe's a singles, obviously former Ring of Honor World Champion. So those guys with Tully Blanchard, I'd be cool with it. There's the big hurdle of those tweets coming back to bite Jay Briscoe on the backside. I mean, that's it. You put things out on Twitter, you've got to be careful what you say. You have to not be an ass, basically. I mean, you can't. It's there forever. Whatever you say, you can. I don't know. Some people might go with like, oh, I was younger. This, I was immature. That, whatever. Okay, whatever you do, you have to own it and you have to take responsibility for it. What Jay Briscoe said back in 2013. Not cool, man. And that seems to be the sticking block, where there's executives at Warner Media that are just refusing to just basically kiboshing any potential signing of the Briscoes with AEW. If that changes, I don't, who knows? Because I mean, talent-wise, they're one of the best tag teams of the modern era, the Briscoes. It's just, But there is that massive stumbling block there. And also whether Tony Khan wants to bring him in, which I think he does. It's just the decision makers above him at the network aren't keen on it. But as for Tully Blanchard, yeah, he'd be cool with him. But for the revival, just FTR as a sidetrack there. Bret Hart is, there he is, a little hitman. Bret Hart is my favorite wrestler of all time. I love me some Bret Hart, and the tease of Bret Hart managing FTR. Okay, cool. As much as I love Bret, it's like, give Arn Anderson that job. Make Arn AA the manager of FTR. I'd be very happy with that. MJ, oof. I see what you did there. On Twitter, happy Sunday. Hope the coffee is good. The coffee's very good, brother. My little Owen Hart mug. Swig of coffee for the working man. I say it's good. That's not so good. Not so good, man. That's way too watery. I like my coffee, just black coffee, nice, simple. That's way too watery. And it's all my own fault. I hope the coffee's good. Who is your favorite one-match wonder? For me, it's Fantasio. Oh, goddamn. Apologies, I should not use that. I forget about this. It just flows out. So apologies if anyone's offended by my goddamn comment. Yeah, Fantasio. That's a name I've not heard in many, many moons. For me, if I'm thinking one match wonder, and I'm thinking one match in like a specific company, the one name that jumps out, and he is one of my all-time favorites, is Jushin Thunder Liger, who technically only ever had one match under the WWE banner, which was in NXT against Tyler Breeze back in whenever. So I don't know if you mean one match ever, because I'm sure Fantasio had other matches elsewhere. Yeah, I'm gonna go with. It seems like a really cop-out answer, but I'm gonna go with Jushin Thunder Liger. Just mind-blowing talent. What a guy. Just, I remember one of those talents where you remember the first time you saw them. For me, it was on WCW TV in 1991, because I am old, and it used to be on over here in the UK on ITV at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. on a like Sunday night, Monday morning, and then it would also be on Saturday afternoons. And I remember seeing Liger against Pillman, and it was just Brian Pillman, obviously. It was just like the outfit, the mask. It was like, holy moly, this is, yeah, holy cow, man. To paraphrase the late great Roddy Piper, it was just like, yeah, caught my eye massively. So yeah, Jushin Thunder Liger is a long way around that answer. Dustin Sentinel, okay, Andrew, have fun with this and make up an answer. Okie dokie. Why did WWE get rid of opening show pyro? Only to use it for premium live events. And there's another dog picture. Brilliant. Thank you, Dustin. Cost. It's just cost. By all accounts, pyro costs a lot of money, and so if they're doing it on a weekly basis or twice weekly, if you include Raw and SmackDown, then that's a cost that adds up. And obviously WWE is in budget cuts mode in recent years, so it's just the logical approach for me is that you cut it back from Raw or SmackDown and you save it for your premium live events or pay-per-views, whatever you want to call them as. I'd save it for your big shows. Or when you go to Saudi Arabia and then you just have as much pyro as you want, nobody cares. Because it seems like when you've been watching Raw weekly and then when one of the Saudi shows come up and it's like, yeah, they've definitely gone all out on pyro this week. Last question here, Gary Blackwood, just putting this question out there for any of you legends on the channel. No legends working today. I'm the only one that works Sundays, brother. But I will answer your question, Gary. Who will make it to Raw first, Veer or Cody Rhodes? I think there's more chance of Dustin Rhodes getting to Raw before Veer, let alone Cody Rhodes. Yeah, Veer. It's one of those where you really, and again, I don't wish anybody to lose their job, but you really wouldn't be surprised if Veer ended up getting released before he made it to Raw, or made it back to Raw. That's the thing, because he was on Raw, and then the roster split up in the draft, and yeah. Anyway, that brings an end to probably slightly rambling. I apologize. It's a Sunday morning version of the wrestling news here at What Culture Wrestling. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at What Culture WWE. If you want, you can follow me at Culture Left Peg. If not, no worries. It's cool. I can't promise it's an exciting ride anyway. Yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. And most importantly, just be sure to have a good Sunday, or make the best of your Sunday that you can. Whether you're doing something, whether you're doing nothing, just enjoy it, have fun. And I will catch you next weekend.